He was 2 years older than I, but we became very, very good boyhood friends. I was like a member of the family, only my name did not begin with a D. When my family was having their new house built in the spanking new development in Poughkeepsie, New York. The house happened to be 2 houses down from the Nervik's home. And Doug was one of the first kids to come up and tantalize me and introduce himself as I was playing on this mound of dirt, which had been the dirt that became our basement. Doug's nickname for me was always Scootfoot. I don't know why he called me Scootfoot. Every time I saw him, he called me Scootfoot. I never knew how it was spelled until just recently. About 6 months ago, he emailed me an email, and he actually spelled it in the email, and it sounds like something, he spelled it Scoot Butt. So it was like something a dog would do in your living room. But anyway, it was a friendship that lasted through our formative years, fueled by our interest in theater, and our involvement in community and school productions, and our eventual moves, be they to completely different neighborhoods, to the Big Apple. I was very impressionable as a kid, since my only sibling was so many years older, and Doug was really the quintessential older brother to me. When I got to junior high school, everybody's junior high school favorite leading man was Doug. So I defected to the high school where they need little kids to play the boys, the Pickpockets and Oliver, just so I could get in the show. And Doug stayed back and did such memorable junior high musicals as Bubble Trouble and Rough and Ready. and yet he always felt, he was the lead, but yet he always felt like I had the upper hand because there was an original cast recording of Oliver, and there was none for Bubble Trouble. So anyway, when we got to high school then, Doug was still obviously 2 years ahead of me, and he was playing the lead of Paul in Carnival. I played a bear on a unicycle Doug gets aroused about. Even in our community theater, Sumco, which we started as a group of kids in the summer so we'd have some theater to do, he was Cornelius Hackle and I was Harry. Now Harry, you may remember, is in the Hello Dolly number. Dolly sings to him, "Hello Harry, lose some weight." I think you did, Harry. That was me. So it was Cornelius Hackle. So clearly I was no match for Doug's talent. But he still was my biggest champion. He really was my biggest champion. I would go to their house often, and they had one of those, I think of an Elvira pinball machine now. He had a real pinball machine in their family room. And I always wanted to play the pinball machine. That's all that really mattered to me, but Doug would not have any of that. He wanted me to come in his bedroom and listen to original cast albums. And he acted every part. Every part. And occasionally he finally let me play some of the supporting roles. We would sit in his room sometimes for what seemed like hours. He would play the original cast album of Company, and he'd turn off all the lights, and he'd make me listen to all the Bobby, Bobby, Baby, Bobby, Bobby. And he'd create this whole world for me where their voices were coming from the dark at different spots in his bedroom because he had a stereo in it. So we would do that, and then we also learned the entire piano lesson from The Music Man, which, if you know, The Music Man is a song between Marion Peru and her mother, Mrs. Peru. Guess who Doug got to play? Yes, I was doing the old woman with the Irish brogue while Doug sang with Shirley Jones. She's the film. Anyway, fast forward to years later, one of my first professional roles as an equity actor was in The Music Man. Marcellus, not Mrs. Peru. And later in the 90s, I understudied all the men in the original cast of Company reunion concert. We did a 25th anniversary reunion concert in both LA and New York City. And Doug was thrilled that I did it, upset that he couldn't see them, and I'm sure both of these experiences were the result of the training that I got in Doug's bedroom. I was telling Ray Mayron, when I visited Doug in the hospital we were both in, my only regret was that Doug and I saw each other a lot in the city. We would just happen upon each other, but it was never the kind of quality time together that we both wanted. He always invited me to the caroling parties that you probably all do, that I never, for one reason or another, was able to make it to. And it took me moving to LA in the early 90s to see the most of Doug, because he would come and spend an afternoon with me, quality afternoon whenever he was out there. The last time I saw him was in the theater district, and we were both running, me to a rehearsal for a Broadway Cares event, and him trying to wrangle all these kids who were all over the place on a tour with him. He said we really had to get together, but we never did. He did, however, send me some photos, which I quickly sent out this morning. I didn't realize you were collecting photos. And a few short accompanying notes, which I would like to share with you, which are in his words. I'll share with them quickly. These were after we had agreed to try an alternate plan to meet in Poughkeepsie, since we could not seem to pull it together in New York City. So before we picked a date, this is what I received from Doug. And when I read this now, knowing about Doug's knowledge of every building that's in New York, and every gargoyle and every building and everything else, it makes a lot more sense to me now. But this is what Doug sent me not long ago. I believe it was last November, actually. I go by, Sandy Drive was where we lived, and he was 23 Sandy Drive, just to give you a little history. This is Doug's words now. I go by the Sandy Drive house on occasion to show it to friends and just reminisce. Such wonderful memories of that street, our summer evening hangs, playing kick the can, listening, of course, to the Music Man, hearing Coach B, Coach Bennison, my next-door neighbor who was our gym teacher, yelling, "Bob!" That's how Doug said it. Wanting to take, this is some not Doug to me, but maybe you all know other things about it that I don't. Wanting to take Kathy Kay like a Norse warrior. This is his next-door neighbor. All the sledding in the backyard, the Dolans making their house look gorgeous, Robbie Curry's pool, your father's black Delta 88 convertible, which I don't even remember, and so much more. So see, he was obviously a man about details. I'd love to walk around inside our house sometime, being his house, but I'm too shy to ask. Maybe someday when you're up there, we can go over together. Is your house still in the family? So I responded, yes, it is. And then he said, okay, January it is. That would be so much fun, seeing your house and maybe even the old record player. Or company, maybe, I don't know. And wandering down to 23 for a tour. That's his house. Man, I forgot about, then he forgot something clearly. Man, I forgot about riding on the tailgate of the station wagon. When have you ever thought of the word station wagon in the last 20 years? For us, it was par for the course because we did things that were a little dangerous and over the top. For other kids, I realize it must have seemed scandalous. And camping out on the front lawn, yes, I can't wait. Then he said, bye again, like for the 5th time. That Monday, the day before Doug passed away, I ignored all the warnings that were on his Facebook page. Not to go visit him because I hadn't been there on the weekend, and apparently he'd had a very busy Sunday with tons of visitors. So I did go Monday, regardless of the warnings. And we had a moment alone after he had just been given morphine. And it was that quality time that I so wish I had not slipped by so often before. I had my phone with me, and I pulled it out, and I put it up to his ears, and I pressed play.
A man with a suitcase followed me home. Aw, I never saw him before. Did he say anything?
I had to listen to it, so do you.
Did you say anything? Of course not, Mama. Now don't dawdle, Amaryllis. Oh, do, la, re, ti, mi, a little slower, and please keep the fingers curved as nice and high as you possibly can. Don't get faster, dear. If you don't mind my saying so, it wouldn't have hurt you to have found out what the gentleman
All I have to say is make your way up there, all you harps, because you have a mean accordion player to add your merry band. I love you, Doug. Bye again for the 6th but not final time.